Hi everybody. Hey, how you doing? Happy Tuesday. Hope you're doing well. While we're waiting on folks to join, let's remind you to go to coopedup.com and check out my content there. Also, if you're on other social platforms, particularly on Instagram, I would love a follow. I'm Cooped Up is my handle there. And wherever you are watching or listening, be sure that you click the notification bell or whatever the method of getting notified is, that I have come live or posted new content. So hope y'all are doing well. Hey, Mama, good to see ya. Get that off the screen. So how's everyone doing? Tuesday. It is Tuesday. I don't know why, but I think it's because I'm fresh off of vacation. I feel like we've already had like a 4-day week, and I have not even really done that much, if I'm going to be honest. But yeah. So as you probably saw in the teaser for this one, nostalgia, NASA, and never arrived are three of the things that we're talking about today. Hey, Sandy, starting with nostalgia. Have y'all heard that Walmart is now selling Trapper Keepers? So I bought 2 of them. They are so gorgeously 1980s. Look at that. I showed them to Carrie. I sent her actually when I was at the Walmart. This is a $10, $9.95. I don't even remember how much Trapper Keepers were when they first came out, but I feel like they were expensive, and like it was like a really, really cool thing to get one when we were kids. But it's the original thing. It's even got the folders in it. I'm using this one as the way to keep myself organized in my put that away in my bag. So this is one. Carrie wanted it to be Lisa Frank. They have 4 patterns. They have this. They have this, this is also very 80s. They have one that is lasers, and then they have one that is a bunch of different animal prints. But they all have the trademark folders inside and all of that kind of stuff. They weren't selling more folders though, so I don't know how to get those. If any other folder works, I don't know how that is. But isn't it interesting? Christy's saying this is amazing. Isn't it interesting how are they marketing to people like me? So I'm not gonna lie, I'm a 46-year-old gay man, almost 47, and I was telling the kids about it when we were at the Walmart. I was telling the Walmarts. That's how you know your country. You call them the Walmarts. We were there, and we were in Nashville. I picked these up at the Walmart in Nashville. So we're in the store, and I see them, and I'm like, oh, I've heard about these. And again, $9.97 each. I will actually throw a link in the comments here. Let me see if I can get this to, if y'all want to check them out. How do I do that? Right there. So I was like, oh my God, kids, you guys see these? These were like all the rage when I was a kid. Like you were cool if you had one of these. It had all the different things, different folders. Remember they had a little bag in it that you could put your pens and stuff in it, which I don't know if those were official Trapper Keeper brand or not, but it was great. And I'm gonna admit, I love school supply shopping. I still do. I am so excited when the school supplies come out, even though here's the funny thing is, we don't buy school supplies for our kids because our school takes care of it. We pay a supply fee, and I do not have to buy a single pen, pencil, stitch of paper, toilet paper, anything like that. But Sandy's saying there's only 7 left on that Walmart thing. There are other patterns too. I think I only linked to the one, but there are others that you might check out as well. But I love it. Just brought back like my love of what dinged just now of school supply shopping. Oh, you know what? Claire's iPad. She got a new iPad today, and the old one is right here. And it is. Let me power that off. It is going off like crazy. But so hey Carrie, watching from work. Sandy's saying she loves buying spiral notebooks and all of the pens too. Me too. Yes, Carrie. And Christy's saying, I love school supplies, all of them. And they have Trapper Keeper. Oh, good to know. Thank you for the heads up on that. I'll have to check that out. But yes, I'm talking about Trapper Keepers, Carrie. I got 2 of them here. Claire picked this one out, and I picked this one out. I love this one. It's just so, the neon sunrise, the mountain scene, the modern like internet stuff. I just love it. They're flimsier than I remembered, but that's okay. I do remember the sides pulling apart a lot of times. But anyway, back to what I was saying about them. It was just like all the rage to get them. And so I'm telling the kids about this and they're like, you got excited about school supplies? Like I was like the most uncool person ever, which leads me to believe that these came out for people like me to buy and carry and all of y'all's, and not for my children who are tweens, soon to be teens. They are not interested at all. Carrie's asking to order the Lisa Frank one that you sent me on Amazon. I did not. I was just buying the Walmart ones. Also, it was expensive, wasn't it? Carrie was looking at them because Trapper Keeper has officially only released these four patterns, and they're through Walmart exclusively, supposedly. Yeah. So, but nostalgia just cracks me up how all of this stuff, they're bringing it back to get more of my money, old Giza money. But I am there for it. I'm going to use one for, kids of the 80s are buying this shit. Screw the kids, young children of today. I agree. I got one that I'm putting in my bag so that I just put paper in there instead of having a bunch of loose paper. And my big old, I jokingly call it my purse, but this is my big bag. And then the other one, I haven't decided what I want it for, but I was like, you know what, limited time offer, I'm going to take advantage of it. The other thing, so I was mentioning nostalgia, NASA, and never arrived, quote unquote. That's what we're talking about today. Did I tell them what Claire said? Are you talking about in the car today, Monica? I will get to that. Remind me in a moment. Did y'all see that Jeff Bezos is now the second billionaire in recent days to go into space? Well, space. I don't know how much into space they're going. They're going like inner space or like the edges of the atmosphere. But here's my take on it. Okay, so first of all, I do not believe in counting other people's money. If this is how they want to spend their money, go for it. Because I know all of them give a ton of money to charity. So I'm not going to say, do you know how many kids could have been fed with that? Because they're already feeding a bunch of kids. Like, I know this to be true. And if this is what they're passionate about, who knows what they've invented? Who knows what's going to come of this? And they'll probably make billions more on this sort of thing as well. So that aside, I am not sitting in judgment in any way, shape, or form for them choosing to spend their money this way and to explore and do this sort of thing. It's the equivalent of them buying of me buying a Trapper Keeper, them going into space. They're that rich, right? So but the way they're doing it is very interesting to me. So Sir Richard Branson went last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, and his space shuttle is like so badass. So first of all, it goes up, it's like being flown up by two airplanes that are connected, like Siamese twin airplanes, right? They go up and they're flying. And then there's this little like Eagle plane, like super space age, that's hanging between it. And all of a sudden it drops and takes off from there, just like to get up and go, right? Look very stylish looking, it lands, it looks great. Everything about it is just on brand for the Virgin brand, right? So then it's Jeff Bezos's turn. Am I even saying his name right? I think I am. And how does he get to space? On a big ass penis. Like it is that. I mean, I saw people joking about it. They're like, "Oh my god, it looks like a penis. Oh my god, it looks like a penis." Then I saw a photo of it, and I was like, "Certainly, this is Photoshop. There is no way." I mean, admittedly, all rockets of that variety look phallic, right? They all look phallic. But this one, legit. Like, it is like someone was either punking us or was like, you know what? Let's put a dick in space. And let's put him in a spaceship that looks like one too. I was just like, I'm like, how did that get through the design phase with the little lollipop head on it, the thin shaft, the balls at the back? Like, I just do not get it. Carrie's like, it looked like a penis. It 100% did. I'm like, I've also seen people posting about the Austin Powers thing where Dr. Evil went off in a spaceship and it looks very similar to this one. Like I'm like, it's sort of like when you see something that comes out and you're like, there was a committee that came up with this. This was written down on paper. Like this had to get numerous levels of approvals. And no one said, huh. Like that's how I feel about this. And it's not particularly stylish. Blue Origin, they had the feather on everything, but it wasn't particularly stylish. It did look more comfortable in the capsule when they were sitting there. And the way it landed was, I guess they didn't have to control it as much. It didn't require like a pilot as much because like Richard Branson's actually had to be landed like an airplane, right? So someone had to do that. But this one just like parachute out and came back down, right? The one thing that I do think is super cool, I've not seen what Elon Musk's is going to look like, and isn't he going in the next month or so also? I'm not sure exactly, but I thought that was the three of them that were going. But Elon Musk's SpaceX rockets do this, as did the Blue Origin. The thing that I think is so cool is that the way the rocket goes up, like the booster, and then, old style NASA boosters, we're just polluting the world with, and you just blow it off and let it land wherever it's going to land. This one, they both just go up and then put the fire below them, science-ish here, and it lands like vertically, and it lands perfectly. Like that part to me is like my jaw drops every time I see SpaceX or even Blue Origin this morning, the way they come down. So anyway, Carrie is saying, from the moment men leave the womb, they're trying to make their dicks bigger and prove they have big dick energy. Bezos wins. I don't know. I think he might have little dick energy actually, and he's trying to overcompensate for something. Because to me, if you got big dick energy, you do not need to fly to space in an actual dick. Like I just think that there's so much more. Like Branson's was so much more stylish, and also Branson's, did they orbit? I know that Bezos's just went up and down, right? And I think you could actually still see it when it was in the air and coming down. Like maybe with a telescopic lens or something, but like it never left like orbit or it never did anything. It just went up and down, right? I think that didn't Sir Richard Branson's actually like fly around or do something? I don't know. Monica's saying Spaceballs. I agree. So Spaceballs. And Elon Musk loves Spaceballs, and that's why he names Tesla's stuff like with the speed. It was, I can't remember what the first one, but now it's like plaid, and they've gone plaid. Like that's so funny. Rednecks, big trucks, millionaires, big rockets, all of them teeny members. Yes, exactly. But anyway, I just saw that and I was in disbelief at how phallic it looked. Like not even phallic. Like that wasn't even phallic. That literally was a dick. Like that literally was. Some big old Jack and the Beanstalk giant is a eunuch today because of this. Neither orbited. Brooke is correcting me on that. So, and then back to I think the Trapper Keeper thing. I'm such an uptight school teacher that I dig through the spiral notebooks at Walmart and buy them. Every student the same color, so no one says, she got the green one. You'd be a good parent too. That is a parenting hack right there as well. I love spiral notebooks too. And legal pads. I am a Office Depot junkie as well. Office Max, Staples, all of them. The school supply aisle, office supply aisle at Target, even at Walmart. Like I am there for that. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about today, and then I have a bunch of other things, but the top of the thing is never arrived. So I have a friend, not really, it's me, who, let's get back to actually talking about myself. I ordered some Kiehl's products, and I ordered some, what was the other one? Grove candles and cleaning supplies and stuff like that. And they were supposed to arrive. Neither of them arrived. And I reported it to both brands. They both said they were going to check in. UPS claims that they were delivered. They were not. It was not on our cameras or anything. So if they delivered it, it wasn't to us. And that's what I said. And they were like, okay, we'll check in with UPS and we'll get back to you. Well, Grove, like 2 days later, was like, bitch, we're sending you a new product. They sent a full box of replacements. Kiehl's took a little bit longer and was like, finally they were like, okay, we're sending you some new stuff. Here's the tracking number, blah, blah, blah. So all of it arrives. Randomly, one day, we get a ring on the doorbell, and it is a guy who frequently gets our mail. His name is Greg, and he has the same house number. And we live in Kessler Park, and like half of the streets in Kessler Park have the word Kessler in them. It's like being in Atlanta and everything's named Peachtree. Like half the streets here have the word Kessler in them. We like our name a lot. But so he has the same house number and partial street name as us. And so he gets stuff for us not infrequently. And so he shows up and he's got these 2 boxes with him. And he's like, hey, some random person left these on my doorstep. And they were all opened, by the way, all open and rummaged through and looked through and all that kind of stuff. And he was like, and it wasn't UPS that delivered them. It was somebody else, I guess at a different similar address, who brought them and left them at his doorstep. And he was like, and they're not mine and they have your name on them. So I assume they're yours. And I'm like, they've all been replaced already. So what is my ethical responsibility at this point? That's what I'm curious about. Because the companies, I think, probably got recouped from UPS already. And they don't really have a good way to get this stuff back. And I doubt Kiehl's wants stuff back because it's like skincare products and all that kind of stuff. And Kiehl's is owned by L'Oreal, I have since learned, since ordering it online. So I'm curious, what would you do? At this point, I have done nothing other than unpack the boxes and put the products away in my pantry. But part of me is like, and I'm not shooting myself to death. I always say, don't shoot yourself to death, folks. So there's no right answer to this, but yeah, you have no ethical responsibility to do anything. You made your reports in good faith. That is true. And that is actually, when I reported it, they were actually missing. When I received them, they were actually missing. And it wasn't until later that someone showed up. And Diane is saying they'll tell you to keep it. Yeah, I've had that with Amazon a few times recently where I wanted to send something back. And it wasn't. So, and everyone else is chiming in. I wouldn't do anything. So good. I like that answer. Nice gift I'd have ordered more had I known this were the outcome. The Kiehl's box, that was probably like $150 worth of product too. The candles, the Grove thing was not much. It was like 6 Nate Berkus candles or something, or Jeremiah Brent candles. But the other was like the vitamin C eye cream, toner, some lotions, some face masks, all that. Monica's going to be like, well, bring it to me, bitch. Because I'm seeing Monica this weekend. So anyway, okay, well, good. So I am not totally off. My moral compass is not completely off, or at least it's not out of calibration with you bitches. So, bought, as I said earlier, I was, Claire and I went, Best Buy was having they have flash sales sometimes, and Claire needs a new iPad, and she saved up enough money to pay for half of one. And I did a deal with her that if she saves up half of it, I will pay for the other half of a new iPad for her. And she wanted one. She didn't want one with the button anymore because those look so old school, all that kind of stuff. And so I saw this morning that Best Buy was having a kind of a flash sale, like daily deals. And they had the iPad that she was looking at for $100 off. So instead of $599, it was $499. So that brings her portion down to $250 more or less. And I told her about it, and so we decided to go buy it today. Best Buy also happens to be next door to Total Wine & More. So a little doubled up trip there. And we get in the car, and I actually have 2 stories to tell on this. So one of them, I'm like, oh, Claire, it's your first brand new iPad. She's like, and she was like, no, it's not. And I was like, no, all the other ones you've had have been hand-me-downs. Like they've been one of my old ones or one of Papa's old ones that you got then as your iPad. And she's like, no, it's not. That's not true. You gave me as a Christmas gift in an Amazon box or an Apple box, an iPad box, a new iPad 2 Christmases ago. And I was like, oh, is that what we told you? I totally forgot that we just reset one of our old iPads. We happened to still have the box. We packaged it up, made it seem like it was. We never said it was brand new. We never claimed it was. We just omitted the fact that it was one of our old ones. She was so fucking mad at me. She was like, I just feel like I've just been lied to, just beside herself, just tweened out like crazy. I can't believe it. I mean, I was just so proud that I had this new one and kind of find out all along. She's just blah, 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 going on that. So set her off. Then Monica calls, my sister Monica calls, and we're on speakerphone in the car, and Claire's listening. Claire loves nothing more than to listen to adult conversations these days. And so we were just talking about random stuff, family stuff. We have a family funeral, this memorial service this Friday in San Antonio that we're going to, all this kind of stuff. So we're talking about all that. And then we're talking about something else. Oh, it came up that Monica and I are planning a siblings trip to Walt Disney World. We did this before, like 3 years ago. Super fun. Just she and I are there and drinking and eating and all that kind of stuff, right? Super fun. So it comes up, and I guess I thought I'd mentioned it, but Claire was like, what? You're going to Disney World? And I was like, yeah, Monica and I are doing our siblings trip. I want to go. And I was like, no, you cannot go. She, under her breath, she said, well, motherfucker. I was like, and of course, if you make me laugh about it, I have it is completely impossible for me to discipline my children if they have done something that made me laugh. And that made me laugh. Also, other people get pissed off about kids cussing. It does not bother. I know who I am. I know what mouth I have. I know the words that come out of it. There's no way that does not spill into other parts of my life. But she said that, and Monica was on the phone also. Monica was like, what? Died laughing. And that's what Carrie was like. I would have died laughing. I was too. And especially since it was used properly. Like, Mason likes to try to pretend to cuss, and he's just saying like words that don't even make sense. Like, they're all cuss words, but they don't make any sense. And I'm like, man, at least be smart about it. At least use it right. Like, she's just like, well, motherfucker, like under her breath. I just laughed so hard. Monica said I'd be the worst teacher. Yeah. So I have told, I have joked with our head of school about if I decided to homeschool our kids. And her response was, well, your kids would have the dirtiest mouth and know how to make the dirtiest martinis. That's all they would know. Yep, that's true. I am not a teacher for a very, very good reason. So anyway, I had a weird thing happen yesterday so I was back in the office yesterday for the first time in over 2 weeks. And I had someone new start while I was away. And so for her first day that I was there, I took my whole team out to lunch, and we're there and we're talking about just vacations and stuff like that. And I mentioned that we were watching or listening to certain podcasts, right? That on the drive back, and how listening to podcasts make it go so much easier, faster, blah, blah, blah. And I happened to mention also, and I'll get to which podcast we were listening to in a moment. I said the weirdest thing though is that both of the podcasts that we were listening to completely, one was comedy, one was true crime. Neither of them were related in any way. Both happened to mention JonBenet Ramsey. Remember that little girl who was murdered in her house in Boulder, Colorado? I think Boulder, right? Like, she was 6 years old, I think, beauty queen. So I was like, how weird is it that JonBenet Ramsey came up in both of them and all of this kind of stuff? Glazed look on their faces. None of them knew who JonBenet Ramsey was. I'm like, Oh, God, I feel old. So then one of them was like, oh, I know who you're talking about. And actually did, because she had a good explanation for it. But the other ones were like, no, we've never heard of that before. Never heard of that before. And it's all because they were born in fucking like 1999. Like, I mean, I have one employee who, when I was processing her first day of work payroll stuff, like the I-9 or whatever you call it, her birth date, actual date of birth, was during finals week of my senior year of college. That made me feel very, very old. Like I said, fire them and start over. Oh man, I mean, I normally do have a rule. It's like, if you do not know what I'm talking about, pretend you do. Google it while you're talking to me, and then pretend like you're older than dirt, girl. Well, let me tell you, that makes you 6 months older than dirt, Eric. So the two podcasts that it came up on, one of them was this true crime podcast called The Clearing. And I don't think this podcast is all that new, but it's new to us. I live so close to my office and the school and all that, and we don't go anywhere anymore, that I don't really listen to podcasts that much. So when we travel long distances, I take the time to catch up on them and do all that. So there's one called The Clearing. And basically with this one, it was fascinating. It's like an 8-part. They cover the same story through the whole 8 of them. And it's this woman named April who kind of figures out that she knew her dad was kind of a bad person, and like they moved a lot, and that there was a lot of like bad history like in that. But she finally figured out that she thinks her dad murdered was the guy who murdered these 2 people in one of the towns where they lived, right? And so she turns them in. It's a 30-year cold case, by the way, and she happens to see something about it, and it's like, that sounds a lot like where we were, where we lived, blah, 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 blah. Turns him in, turns out DNA matched, all that kind of stuff. And by the way, the dad is a weirdo who tape recorded every single, like his whole day, just talked to him to a tape recorder, recorded all of his phone calls. So much evidence, so much content, honestly, for a podcast. I mean, it was like made for podcasting. And then the reason it's called The Clearing is that they're actually trying to figure out, there's some people that think that this guy, Edward Wayne Edwards is his name, that he actually may be the most prolific serial killer like in American history, and tied basically any cold case, any unsolved crime, like people are tying him to these things. And so she is trying to clear, it's called The Clearing. She's trying to not clear his name. Like she actually doesn't have a preference of whether he did it or not. She is literally just trying to figure out, okay, this crime, is it possible that he did it? If so, let's make the connections, and like meets with the families and all that kind of stuff. So it's very fascinating. Again, she's not trying to clear his name. She's just trying to like clear the books on whether he was involved or not. But there's some people that think that he was involved in the John Bonet murder, which doesn't make any sense. And also Lacey Peterson and a bunch of others. Like there's a big stretch on parts of it. But there were like 4 murders that they didn't have concrete evidence, but there are way too many coincidences for someone to be innocent. And then the other podcast we were listening to is an exclusive on Spotify. It's called Can We Be Friends? And it's where they take 2 celebrities that have never met before, have them blindfolded, and they have to talk to each other, ask certain questions, answer certain questions, and then they have to try to figure out who the other one is. So I listened to 3 episodes of it. I do not recommend it as a podcast for y'all to listen to. The first one was mediocre. It was Nate Berkus, and I was picking the ones. I didn't listen to them in chronological order. But like I like Nate Berkus, and there's this comedian, lesbian named Tig something. And they were the first one. It was all right. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. So then the second one we listened to was comedian Margaret Cho and ice skater Rippon. What's his name? Adam Rippon. Hilarious. So funny. So good. And they started talking about JonBenet Ramsey and how some people, there's like a conspiracy theory out there that Katy Perry is actually JonBenet Ramsey. Like they hid her, like the Freemasons or something, like hid her, kidnapped her or something, and have turned her into this celebrity. And they have all this proof that she is actually JonBenet Ramsey. Blew my mind. But they, and so that one was hilarious. And so I thought, okay, maybe the first one was just kind of a dud. The second one was fantastic. So let's listen again. And it was like Big Frida, who I adore. I don't know if y'all know who Big Frida is. Queen of Bounce. This guy who is just super famous. Like, you already know. Like that. Love Big Frida. The other one was, I can't remember his name. A comedian, though. But they're talking so fucking boring. The other ones were like 40 to 50 minutes long. This one was so bad, it was only 20 minutes long. And I was like, nope, not listening to this show anymore. Eric adores Adam Rippon. He's hysterical and so smart and so fast and witty. It was great. Monica's saying they shouldn't tell the listeners who they are. That would be interesting. Yeah, and for some of them, like, if you know, the voices are very, like Big Frida, that wasn't a fair one because Big Frida has like a very distinctive voice. But those were the podcasts we listened to. But still, learn that my staff does not know who JonBenet Ramsey is. Let's see. Everything else on my list, because I'm over time, can wait till a future episode. Carrie will be here tomorrow, so it'll be a fun show. And I will be here Thursday again. But Friday, I am not here. My grandfather's long delayed because of COVID memorial service is at Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio at 3 o'clock on Friday. And so we will be there melting hot as balls in San Antonio for that. So let me look real quick to make sure I did not miss anything. And a lot of y'all are asking me to be very generous with my Kiehl's. And if I don't want it, y'all will take it. Sandy's favorite office supplies are from cjanework.com. I'll have to check that out. Michelle is saying, imagine how that capsule would have looked like a big old mushroom if it had been Trump who built it. Oh, man. Oh, and the hall at Disney, the Hall of Presidents, unveiled their Biden animatronic. Make a note to talk about that on Thursday. So with that, I love you. It's important to know you are loved. I love that you watched this. Thank you so much. And with that, I'm going to say bye. I'll see you tomorrow at 4:30 with Carrie for another episode of Cooped Up Live. Should I say? Talk to you later. Bye.